Yo, 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 what's happening, my peeps? So good to have you guys here in February of 2019. Can you believe time is moving this fast and we're already in February? It is February 4th, right? February 4th, 2019, and it's good to be here with each and every single one of you guys. First of all, our apologies to you that for those who may not be watching this right now because you did not get a reminder. Now, of course, last month we gave everybody the complete list for the entire year, the complete schedule, rather, for when we're going to be having all of our webcasts. And we apologize that there were no reminders sent until late this weekend. And so for those of you who may have missed this because of that, again, we apologize. Technology is awesome when it works. Kind of like drones are great when they don't crash. But anyhow, again, we apologize for that. We want to get right into the webcast. We got so much stuff to cover, and we want everybody just to make sure, you know, we've fixed the system here internally. At least we hope we have. But just make sure you keep that webcast schedule there for yourself and put it in your calendar so you know what we've got going on all year long and so you don't miss any awesome webcasts. So we want to go ahead and get rocking and rolling right now. So let me go ahead and bring up my presentation here, and we will cover with you guys what we are going to be reviewing today. Now, in just a minute, I am going to be covering something very important, which is the future of the drone industry. I think this is going to be a valuable few minutes for you guys to spend here with me. I have some very important things I want to share with you in regards to that. Of course, we're going to talk about the Massive Action members who took massive action this last month. We have every month, as always, drone news that Damon will be covering with you guys. We'll introduce the Superstar of the Month. And we also want to launch today our new membership portal. As you guys know, our old membership portal was through a system called Kajabi, who basically is no longer supporting that old system. And so we had to make a move over, and this has been many months in the process of moving over, but it's now ready to go, and we're going to be covering that with you guys here today, along with a cool new and simplified method for ordering wholesale equipment. So we're going to be covering with that you guys as well today, which is really important. Of course, as always, we'll do Q&A, and that will be at the end of the presentation here today, the webcast. But of course, if there's anything that comes up, I see some people already typing in questions here. If it's irrelevant to the moment, we will go ahead and address your questions right here. So bring back up the list. Bring back up, I want to say hi to a couple of people. Scroll down. We got, we got plenty of people. I know a lot of people missed it, but plenty are here. So good to have you guys all here. My man Probe right there on top. Probe, feels like I've been missing on you, man. Like we got to see each other soon and grab a burger. So good to see everybody there. Probe, Mark, Kelly, Leif, Mark, Ricky, John, Barry, Don, Donnie, Dave, and boy, I'm going to forget somebody. So how about I stop saying people's names so that nobody gets their feelings hurt, and we rock and roll. So guys, I want to get started right away. And what I want to talk to you guys about is the future of the drone industry. Now, I just want to show you this chart here really quick. Now, this chart is not exact. I just want to point something out to you guys here that we see. This is kind of the drone industry as it got started back in the early 2000s. And we can see this trend upwards like this. Now, there's two things I want you guys to take note of. Number one is this industry is growing more rapidly than any industry I have ever seen in my personal lifetime. And when I speak about the growth of the industry, I don't mean just the growth of the industry, but I mean the rapid pace of the technological development. So I'm surrounded here with computers, there's cell phones, we got all types of gear and equipment in here. Most of you guys know I have a musical background. We have a music studio in the room right next to me. There's music equipment all around me right over here. I can tell you that in the music industry, we use microphones from the 50s, man. We use compressors and we use EQs from the 50s and 60s to this day because they're vintage and they actually sound awesome. Tell me what drone we can use from 1950, right? Or even what computers we can use from that far back. We just can't because the technology just moves so far and so fast. I've got a computer right here in front of me that we're using to do work from 2010. And we've got this other laptop right here. This one's from 2014. There's another. We've got all these screens around here that are 5 to 10 years old. This screen is 8 years old. This screen is 8 years old. That screen, I don't know how old that screen is. Doesn't matter. My point is, we got all this gear we're using that's 5 to 10 years old. Tell me what drone equipment you can really use today, 5 years old. 5 years ago, there basically wasn't a drone industry. 5 years ago, the Phantom 1 was barely released, right? Just released. So this is how fast this freaking industry is you can use your equipment from basically 2 years ago. That's it. Any older than that, you just can't, because the technological development has been so rapid, so fast-paced. I know there's some people out there with some Phantom 3s, and that's about as old as you can go. But man, if you're on a Phantom 3, come on, go do it one job and buy a new Mavic. You know what I'm saying? The point is, this industry is growing incredibly fast, but you can see we're about right here in terms of our time. We're not quite 2020. And none of this is exactly perfect. This is just to describe visually the path that we're on. But this is pretty good. You can see how it starts over here and it starts coming up this way. And we can see in the next 5 to 6 years how it's just shooting off the charts. Now, what I want you to take a notice of here in this chart is that it is a very common and typical growth chart for exponential growth in world-changing industries. I'm going to give you some examples in just a second. And it, of course, is called the hockey stick, right? Because you've got, you know, it comes out from over here and it comes up and then it shoots up like a hockey stick. What it really is in mathematical terms is a hyperbola. If you understand what a curve is, this is a hyperbolic curve. And what I want you to take note of is kind of this point right here, or any of these points right here on a graph when it moves up. There are historically, we can look back at other industries like the steel industry, the automobile industry, even modern electronics like TVs and even radios and everything. I can look at the music industry and we can talk about things like I said, like microphones and junk like that. And if you study the history of business, we find that major industries who go through this type of rapid growth, typically this point of major curvature where the hyperbola begins happens either right on or right after what we call market stabilization point. Now, you guys might remember me talking about market stabilization point at Drone Command Live, and that is that point where the pricing of a piece of technology or the product lowers and lowers and lowers and lowers and lowers until it can't go any lower. You guys remember me talking about that? I typically use the example of like flat screen TVs. Remember they first came out, they were $15,000, $20,000. Now you can buy them for 500 bucks. But they're not gonna go any cheaper than that. That's when it gets as cheap as it can go. And then after that, the technology starts getting better instead of just cheaper, because you can't go any cheaper. And at some point in time, all the major brands in the industry kind of have equivalent products at about equivalent prices with just a little bit difference for all of them. And we can see that with cars, you can see that with computers, you can see that with flat screen TVs. You know, the computers aren't getting any cheaper, right? And if you get a Lenovo, an Asus, a Compaq, whatever, they're all about the same. They're all about the same price points, and there's just a little bit of difference here and there. Apple, of course, you kind of separate them, but it's still kind of about the same thing. Same thing with automobiles. If you're getting a Ford, you're getting a Chevy. If you're getting a sedan, they're all about the same. If you want to buy a brand new Ford F-150 or you want to buy a Chevy Silverado 1500, now I understand people have their loyalties, but when you get down to brass tacks, they're about the same product and they're at about the same price. Canon versus Nikon, it's all the same. You guys are following me? So what happens is we can't go any further in terms of lowering the price, but we can now make it better. That's market stabilization point. Typically in an industry, when the technology reaches that point, it happens right about here, and right after that, it launches. That's very typical in the history of business. I'm going to give you some examples of industries that did that so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. So you can also see where we're at in this industry, because nobody has a crystal ball. You can't look in a crystal ball to look into the future. But I have some friends of mine and some business associates who are actually professional speculators. That's what they do in business. And I've learned a lot from them in terms of how I do my marketing based on the science of speculation. And yes, there is a science behind it. And one of the things you find historically throughout business is we can predict to a very strong measure of certainty what the future holds based on the past. So we can say this is what happened basically every single time another industry hit this. We got good reason to believe it's going to happen again. And so when it comes to market stabilization point, we hit that literally 2 months ago. And the reason we can say that is we kind of felt like it can't get any cheaper than the Mavic 1, which was released, what, 2 years ago now, right? Basically, just a little over 2 years ago, the Mavic 1 was released. We felt like it's not going to go any cheaper, and it didn't. So they came out, you know, DJI came out with the Spark. They came out with the Mavic Air. But in terms of the quality, those products were lower quality. So we weren't getting the same product at a lower price. So the Mavic 1 was kind of, this is kind of the standard. And you can't go any cheaper and still be professional. You can't go any lower and still be professional in terms of what it could do. So the big question is the next Mavic going to be basically the same thing and cheaper, or is it going to be more intense? Is it going to be better? Well, when the Mavic 2 was released, which most of you guys already purchased one, I have one, we all have them, they're unbelievable. It created an entire standard for the industry because Mavic is now a line, right? You got the Mavic Air, you got the Mavic Pro, the Mavic Pro 2, and there's a Mavic Enterprise, there's a Mavic Zoom, there's a new Mavic Dual. I mean, have you seen the Mavic Dual with the infrared camera on it along with the Zoom camera? I mean, it's freaking amazing. So it's a whole platform now. But the bottom line is that signaled historically the point where we've reached a market stabilization point in terms of price, and now the next point is when we release the first product that is now better instead of just cheaper. We reached that point literally, when was that Mavic 2 released? 2 months ago? 2 or 3 months. Let's just say 90 days for sake of argument. What that means is from a historical perspective, we are right about here in a huge explosion for the growth of this industry. Now, you guys have heard me ask you this before. Where do you want to be in the future? How do you want to set yourself up? And where do you want to go? And where do you want to be? All that kind of stuff. And how many of you guys have missed out on great opportunities in the future? I can't stress nor emphasize enough for each and every one of you the importance of doing everything in your power. And I'm going to give you very specific instructions today, okay, on how to do this. But do everything in your power to ensure you're positioning yourself in front of this curve. If you do not get out in front of one of these curves, you've lost the opportunity forever. Let's talk about the automobile industry, because you've heard me say this before, that the automobile industry is the closest and most analogous point of reference to our industry, the drone industry we have right now. This happened a long time ago for them, man. I mean, we're talking that's 80 years old in terms of where this happened. But it already happened. Now, you can't go back in time and get back at this point in the automobile industry and try to get in on the automobile industry today. I challenge you to try to enter as an entrepreneur the automobile industry today. As a manufacturer, as a services provider, or what, go for it. I mean, the best you could possibly do is become like a guy who does like car polish and waxing. You have a detailing shop. Yay, good for you. I mean, the point is, this is over, man. You missed your chance in that industry. Automobile industry, it's done. And the same thing's gonna happen to everybody who doesn't get themselves set up right now. Because guys, we have got to tell you, this is where this is going. And either you get in front of this curve or you miss it forever. Literally forever. The door will be shut. Now, let me give you some examples of some people here in the past. This here's Andrew Carnegie. You guys may have heard of this fella. Well, who is he? Well, of course, he's a genius, and he was a multi-gazillionaire. He was basically the first multi-gazillionaire in the history of our country. And he became wealthy because of the growth of the steel industry. Well, the steel industry exploded, causing what? It was the source of the Industrial Revolution. The point is, how many times did the Industrial Revolution happen, you guys? How many times did it happen? Once! It only happened once. And when it happens, you either got in on it or you didn't. And a couple of things I want you guys to take note of based on the figures I'm going to show you guys here is that these aren't the smartest men in the room, but these were the men who were savvy enough to take advantage of timing. You guys have heard me talk about this before, and I can't emphasize this enough. Timing is the only thing that we, for example, me as a consultant, as a business growth consultant, I can basically fix any issue in your business. It's what I do for a living. But there's one thing I can't fix, and there's one thing that I can't control, and that's timing. If timing is working against a company, I won't work for you no matter what. If timing's working in your favor, then the reality is, without any of my help, you're going to crush it anyhow. Because timing, it's like riding the wave. You guys have heard me use the analogy of surfing. It's the same thing. Andrew Carnegie is an example of that. Another fellow who's an example of that is this friendly fellow, Henry Ford. This guy didn't just ride the timing, he did it. He created it, right? So here's a fellow who, now contrary to popular belief, Henry Ford did not invent the automobile. The Germans invented the automobile. His great claim to fame is the assembly line, right? He created the assembly line, and he was a great thinker, and of course, he launched the automobile industry. And how we have what? We have the automobile industry is basically, is the backbone of the entire world. So I want you guys to continue to watch what I'm talking about here. Henry Ford, genius, but was he smarter than Einstein, who was a contemporary, by the way? I mean, they lived at the same point in time. No, genius works in different ways, right? One guy was a great business mind and the other guy was a scientific mind. But the point was, he rode the fame and his wealth came as a consequence and as a result of the wave and the movement of the industry and not his personal genius. Same thing with these fellas. You guys know who they are, right? Steve Jobs, one of the smartest guys who've ever lived. Same thing with Bill Gates. I mean, these guys were incredible geniuses, but they rode the wave of what? Of the personal computing industry. Now, mind you, if we go back in time, there was a time when all the pundits said what about personal computers and the concept of you and I individually having computers in our home. The pundits all said it was a stupid idea and there's no reason why anybody would ever need or want to have a computer in their home. That was the conventional wisdom at the time of the birth of the nascent personal computer industry, the PC industry, which was in the late 70s. Of course, those guys are eating their words because they're complete morons, but that's what people said. And what are people saying today about drones? Well, most people realize drones are the future, but there's always some idiots like your brother, your sister, your mom, your dad, sorry to offend you and talk about your family, but whatever idiots are saying, oh, well, you know, that's not going to happen, that's not a viable industry. Whatever idiots are saying, whatever they said, understand everybody said the same thing about all these other great industries that changed our world. And we can say the same thing about Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg. These guys rode the wave of the birth of the internet, okay? Now, they should thank Al Gore for inventing the internet, right? Of course, I'm just kidding. Al Gore didn't invent the internet. Maybe you believe that. But anyhow, here's the deal. These guys, again, we're not the smartest guys. Have you seen Jeff Bezos lately? He's all yoked and he's all ripped. I guess when you have $140 billion, you can spend some time in the gym now. You know what I'm saying? It cracks me up. But anyhow, again, not the smartest guys in the room, but very smart guys. The point is they rode the wave. And I just want you to ask yourself, take Jeff Bezos or Mark Zuckerberg, pluck them out of this time and dump them in 1962. Would they be as successful as they were? Take Steve Jobs, and instead of having him be an adult in the 70s, how about he was born in the 70s? Then what? Would he still be as successful? Ask yourself those questions and think about it truly and honestly. You'll find that the people in life who you and I know by name as being some of the most successful people that we know, period, those people were successful, virtually every single one of them, because of timing and them being savvy enough to ride the wave. Not because they were so ridiculously smart. I'm going to come back to this fella here, Jeff Bezos, the richest man not only in the world, but the richest man to have ever lived in the history of mankind is who he is right now, just in case you were wondering. And I want to talk a little bit about him in just a minute. But let me give you one more picture of one more fellow. And this, of course, for those of you guys who do not know, this is Frank Wong, who is the CEO of a company that is not only Chinese, but it's in a communist country. And he's a visionary CEO who literally started the business as a hobby business. And it's a hobby business. We're getting started, you know, with this cool drone technology. We put a little GoPro on there. And it was basically a hobby business. Now it's not a hobby business. You know what everything at DJI is today? Enterprise, 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 enterprise. That's all they talk about is enterprise. Why? Because they know that is the future of the drone industry is the enterprise. So I've got some questions that I want to ask you guys and some things I want to talk to you about. Take my presentation here off just for a second. I got to make an adjustment to it. So the question I want to ask you guys is, where do you want to be in the future of the drone industry? Where do you want to have your company placed? This one, like this. But where do you want to be? Because here's the point. You need to position yourself to be ready for the explosion of the drone industry that's happening. And let me explain how you do that. Let's go back to Jeff Bezos and talk about him just for a second. How many people here remember, in fact, I'll ask this question right here, and you guys tell me. When Jeff Bezos started Amazon.com, and bring up the screen so I can see it. When he started Amazon, bring up the screen so I can see it. When Jeff Bezos started Amazon.com, what was Amazon? What did they sell? What kind of company was it? There's a little bit of a delay, I get that, but I want you guys to type it here beneath me. Tell me, what did Amazon.com sell when they first started that company? Well, for those of you that remember, and for those who don't, I'll give you a little hint, I'll give you a little clue. Their major competitor was BarnesandNoble.com. You guys remember that? BarnesandNoble.com was a place, and Amazon.com was a place. So I'm not seeing any responses yet. Yeah, Michaela was the first one. Bing. So she wins 20 bonus points today. Michaela, good job. They sold books. That was all they sold. They just sold books. And as a company that sold books, yeah, everybody's starting to get it now. Books, 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 exactly. So they just sold books, and then they realized what? They built a company that was able to provide you and I with an easy means of purchasing books on the internet. That created for them a form of infrastructure, and that infrastructure allowed them to go, hey, guess what? You know what we can do? We can sell other things that we can put in a box that we would typically put a book in. What would that be? And of course, the rest is history. They started selling things beyond books because they had the infrastructure to have inventory to put into a packaging box, and then to ship it out to you and I, and then it turned into a huge digital backend. In fact, Amazon's digital services, their backbone, AWS, and everything else that has to do with their digital side is really the key factor for their growth, and it's also the key factor for their profitability in the last couple of quarters. I talked to an Amazon insider, and he told me that that's, you know, the dirty little secret is that their digital service division is really what's driving the company's profitability more than their standard Amazon shipments and stuff like that. My point in all that is this. All companies work this way. You start your company with a service or a product, and your company evolves to fit the marketplace. Look at Apple, which is number 2, or now they might be number 3. I don't know where they are. They were number 1 for a while. And look, these guys are all going to fight back and forth. Amazon and Microsoft and Google and Apple and whoever. They're all going to fight for the number 1 position of the biggest company in the world. It doesn't really matter. The bottom line is they're all so high up there that we understand these companies are successful. Apple used to be what? Apple Computer. And they've dropped the computer from their name, and now they're just Apple. Why? Because like 60% of all their profits is a phone. It's the iPhone. And you could separate iPhone from Apple Computer, from the Apple company, and iPhone, if it was its own business, is bigger than Microsoft, Google, and Amazon combined. Those 3 giant companies, just the iPhone alone is bigger than those companies, okay? It's just unbelievable. My point is this. Apple, after, you know, a few decades in the industry, starting in the late 70s, early 80s, you know, we're talking about after 3 decades in the industry of technology, they were ready to launch the iPhone because the infrastructure was there. And they made a huge shift in their company because they had the infrastructure that allowed them to be there and to place themselves there. It's the same thing with Frank Wong. Here's this guy who's got toy drones, a step up from toy drones. They go from toys to becoming serious pieces of machinery. And I think Frank Wong is how old? He's in his early 30s, if not late 20s. He became a billionaire in his 20s, and I think he's now 31, 32. He's a kid. And now here's a guy who's at the head of this company, which is the 9,000-pound gorilla in the industry that is going to reshape the planet. Think about that, because the infrastructure was set in place. So let's talk about you and your company. So consider the following things about the drone industry. And we've shared this with you guys before, and many of you guys have seen it, so I'm not going to show it to you guys today. But there's an awesome video out there of, Google it and go on YouTube, and take a look at DJI's proposed new headquarters they're building in Shenzhen, China, or Shenzhen, however you pronounce it. And allegedly, they're already building it. I don't know, I've never been there, but allegedly they're already building it, and you can Google it and take a look at it yourself. But consider this, you guys. We already know that in real estate, every listing in the next 5 years is going to have aerial photos, all of them. Right now, we're still in single digits all around the country. So it's going to happen whether you like it or not, which is why, even though I'm not a fan of the real estate marketplace, I think everybody should do it because it's free money, because it's going that way. The same thing is going to happen with hotels. So you need to be in on the hotels industry as well. Get out there, do aerial shots and video promotions for these hotels. In cinema, Drones are already a standard in all professional cinematography. I dare you to show me one TV show even, just a weekly TV show that doesn't have aerial footage in basically every single episode, at least in one portion or another. It's already standardized. You're seeing it everywhere. And more advanced aerial cinematography is starting to show up in Hollywood, in TV shows, etc. So it's already basically become standard. I mean, we're not even waiting for that to happen. We're already there. But then you take videos to the next level when you talk about marketing. And I'm going to tell you right now, as a guy who, by the way, is in charge of the largest network of marketing consultants in the world, I can tell you right now that in the marketing industry, for people who do local marketing, basic marketing, small advertising agencies, local marketing consultants, aerial photography and videography is going to become standardized to the place where all business owners expect it. It's no longer, in 5 to 10 years, it will no longer be a novelty. It will be expected. Like, what? You don't have aerial? What do you mean you can't shoot aerial? I mean, people will, 10 years from now, be calling up marketing agencies and say, yeah, I need some aerial photography and videography in my company. We want to shoot some aerial videos. Right now, nobody even knows about that. But in literally just 10 years, I'm telling you that beyond any question, shadow, or doubt, it's going to be expected from everybody in these industries. Now, this is the basic stuff that's already happening right now. We're already there. Cool. Now, here's my point in all this for you guys. This is where you need to be right now, because I'm going to share with you guys some things here in just one slide away about where this is going big time. And I know everybody wants, I want to be the guy who gets a multi-million-dollar contract with Verizon and AT&T and T-Mobile. I want to be the guy who does, all the dams in my state and all the bridges and all the infrastructure for our governments. And I want to be the guy who does a huge construction projects and expands in Southeast Asia and in Latin America. I'm sure you do. I'm sure you want to get a bunch of nuclear power plants and a bunch of oil refineries too. I'm sure you want to do that. You know why? Because it's big money. Big money. Multi-million-dollar contracts is what's coming down the pike. But guess what? You won't even see one penny or one dime of that if you didn't do this stuff first. Because everybody wants to get in on Amazon.com, right? Everybody wants to be Jeff Bezos' best buddy. But you had to be there 20 years ago. And everybody wants to get in on Amazon's cool delivery service, and everyone wants to get in on all that stuff. But guess what? You had to start selling books first. Steve Jobs built computers in his own stinking garage. And his family home when he was a kid is now noted as a historical landmark in the state of California. That's a fact. And they built computers by hand, a bunch of stoned kids, dropping acid and smoking weed, building computers. I wish that was a joke, but it's not. And that's where they started. They started there, and they built a company infrastructure that allowed them to then what? He went public, became a multimillionaire. Apple Computers started facing off against IBM, which would have been the standard computer company in the industry for 30, 40 years, and the rest is history. Well, those of you who are going to be the huge icons of the drone industry, and there will be many of you, just like how many people are there in the tech world? How many, icons are there in the automobile industry? There's dozens, if not hundreds, in many of them. It's going to be the same thing in the drone industry. We will have dozens and even hundreds of icons of the drone industry in the next 10 to 20 years. 20 for sure, 10 they're going to start pulling up. Who's it going to be? It's going to be you guys. There will be many of you members of the Sky Network who will be those icons in this industry. But just like Steve Jobs built his computers in his garage, just like Jeff Bezos started selling books on the internet, and that's how they all got it started, you guys are going to remember when you did your first real estate shoot. It'll be a story about the very first time you got your very first hotel, and you started doing aerial photography, videography, and you started with the basic stuff, because guess what doing this provides you as a drone services company? Infrastructure. This right here is what allows you to build 3 super important things: your staff, your systems, and cash flow. Those are the 3 things you need for you to have a killer drone services business. You can't do it by yourself. Now, if you want to do it by yourself and make $200,000 to $300,000 a year and just be a happy guy who makes $200,000 or $300,000 a year, and that's all you do, and you do it all yourself, go for it. We tip our hat to you, and we think that's totally cool. But if you want to be a true multimillionaire and build a huge industry where you're employing, dozens, if not even some of you in the future could employ hundreds of people and have a huge empire with hundreds, if not thousands of employees and staff, and where you aren't flying any drones, you're just running the business, you have to have staff to do that. Number one. Number two, you're going to build all your systems in your company based on all this stuff. So systems means, how it goes from the person who flies the drone to the person who takes the images and does the deliverables, and how you bill, and how you do your invoicing, and how you handle customer service, and how you send out your people to do dispatch. There's an entire infrastructure in your company you're going to build, and once it's built, you got a machine, and that machine, you can then start pushing more into that machine. The third thing, of course, is that if you do all this stuff, it gives you cash flow. Because every single one of you guys right now wants to go get that big opportunity to go run that nuclear power plant, but go ahead and go out there and go buy the $500,000 worth of equipment. You're going to need to do that. Well, I don't have it. I'm going to go get a loan. Who wants to give you a loan when you got no examples, no history, no portfolio, no infrastructure in your company? You're not going to get it. And this is failed thinking. The way people think, which is failed thinking, is they think, I want it all up here. I don't want to go through the process of getting it. This is what you have to do right here. Because if you will do this, let's talk about the next step. The next step, I'm going to tell you this, is all about inspections, guys. With radio towers, cell towers, dams, bridges, oil refineries, power plants, nuclear energy, everything. I am telling you right now, and this is not me just making a wild prediction, this is basically an empirical fact, as if I went forward in time, and I'm telling you, after traveling to the future, and I'm saying one generation, I'm not going to say 5 or 10 years, I'll say one generation from now, there will basically not be any inspection work in any of these areas of business that will be done by a human being. We're not going to put men anymore in a carton and put them up on a big arm, a big crane, to send them up to be looking at power lines and crap like that. It is not going to happen ever again. That entire industry, the inspections industry, 100% of it is going drones. And there will be some companies that will do the do-it-yourself option. They will be the exception and not the rule. I would estimate less than 10%, single digits, will be doing that stuff on their own. And the other 90% plus of the industry is going to be drone services companies like you guys who are going to be doing all that. And I'm sure you guys really want to be there, but I promise you, you will not be here in the future if you don't set yourself up for it today. And that's where the whole industry is going. Deliveries are going to become standardized and increase in use. Go ahead and bring up my laptop over here. Everybody knows that Amazon has talked about this for a long time. So we got Amazon Prime Air Delivery over here. Is actually a web page on Amazon's website. You can look it up right there, and you can see their very first fully autonomous, no human pilot delivery that took place in 13 minutes. You can see it right here. Go ahead and play that second video. Amazon put out a video 5 yeyears ago, and I don't want to play that one. You guys can look it up on YouTube. Play the second one, which came out 3 years ago. It's a 2-minute long video, but it's that techno TV show with that British guy who talks about new technology. And I just want you to see where Amazon was 2 years ago, and then we can talk about where they are today. So you can see how this is going to become standardized. It's going to increase in use. And Amazon already has a lot of competition and people trying to beat them to the punch. So it's not a question of if this is going to happen. It's just a matter of when. So go ahead and roll the video.
This is a story from the not too distant future. It's the day of your daughter Millie's big football match, and to be clear, that is the sort of football you play with your feet. Anyway, she is missing a vital piece of equipment, specifically a size 3 Puma Evo Power firm ground soccer shoe, the left one. And some of it, sadly, is in the family's 3-year-old bulldog, Stuart. So now what? Well, you could yell angrily at the poor thing, but what's the point? Because all it will hear is blah, 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 Stuart, blah, blah, Stuart, blah. Much better to behave like a rational human being. Find your tablet and place an order with Amazon for a pair of Puma Evo Power firm ground soccer shoes and have them delivered in 30 minutes or less. And in a location not too far away, a miracle of modern technology is dispatched. It's an Amazon drone, and after rising vertically like a helicopter to nearly 400 feet, This amazing hybrid design assumes a horizontal orientation and becomes a streamlined and fast airplane. In time, there'll be a whole family of Amazon drones, different designs for different environments. This one can fly for 15 miles. And it knows what's happening around it. It uses sense and avoid technology to, well, sense and then avoid obstacles on the ground and in the air. Back at the house, you're getting a message on your tablet to say that your Prime Air delivery is arriving. And it goes back to vertical mode and scans the landing area for potential hazards. This amazing innovation then lowers itself slowly to the ground, drops off the package, and flies straight back up to altitude. And moments later, you're walking through the door with a brand new pair of Puma Evo Power firm ground soccer shoes, size 3 for Millie, and a Nylabone chicken flavoured Durachew for naughty, naughty Stuart. And balance is restored to the universe.
You could look that up yourself. It's happening whether you like it or not. And I'll show you, that's just the delivery industry. And you say, well, am I going to be involved in deliveries? Yes, but not the Amazon account, nor are you going to be involved in the Uber account or the Boeing account or anything like that. But those companies are doing what? Remember market stabilization? They're creating the technology, and the technology is going to come down in price. As it's standardized and it increases in use, that technology will come down so that it can be then offered locally by local service providers like yourself. And who do you think everybody's going to go with? Someone who just got started and just bought their first single delivery drone? Of course not. You've got to have yourself set up. It's also going to happen the same way in transportation. This is going to become standardized. Now, this happened a few years ago in Dubai. Go ahead and play the Dubai drone taxi video. This is a short video. I think it's 60 seconds long, and well, I'll let it speak for itself.
This is a no-joke look at our future skies, courtesy of none other than Dubai's Crown Prince. The largest city in the United Arab Emirates was not kidding around when it proclaimed it would be the first in the world with a flying taxi service, which is why it staged this quick 5-minute liftoff with Dubai's Crown Prince, Sheikh Hamdan bin Mohammed, as the passenger in an autonomously flying drone copter made by German firm Volocopter. That company is backed by Daimler, the parent company of car maker Mercedes-Benz, so this is not exactly a Kickstarter operation. The automated vehicle is a 2-seater, 18-rotor flying vehicle which lifts and lands vertically like a helicopter. It took the city's Crown Prince on a 5-minute flight 200 meters above the sand. Volocopter wants to offer longer rides that last up to 30 minutes and will be hailed through an app just like a rideshare car trip. It also comes with parachutes inside for ease of mind more than anything. The flight is all based on GPS tracks for now, but the Volocopter chief says that will all be updated in the future. But let's be real. With competitors like aerospace bigwig Airbus, Kitty Hawk, which is backed by Google co-founder Larry Page, and of course Uber, in addition to a handful of other realistic competitors, this is just beginning, guys. Those competitors better get to it though. Volocopter says it expects to be truly casually operational in Dubai within 5 years. That's because it takes a lot to get from demo to real deal with future tech. For more Engadget Today, check back tomorrow.
I want you to think about this. First of all, that was the freaking Crown Prince of Dubai. This guy is worth God only knows how much. And not only how much money they have, but total power. Those guys basically are like complete monarchs over there. They rule with an iron fist. They do whatever they want. That was very risky for those guys to be in there. Obviously, they believe in the technology, and obviously that's how far advanced it is. And you can see, this is, I think she said this is not a Kickstarter project, right? She was joking because it's backed by the Daimler Chrysler Group or Daimler AG, a German company. These guys own Chrysler, Mercedes-Benz, etc. The point is, go bring my presentation back up. Transportation is going to become standardized as well as two things converge. One, technology converges with the regulations in the different countries, etc. We're going to see these things happen in a place like Dubai first because those guys don't have to go through Congress. If the Crown Prince says roll with it, they roll with it. That's whatever type of democracy or representative government that they have, it's all for show. Because the reality is this guy says this is what we do and that's what we're going to do. And it's going to happen in places like there first. And then it's going to roll out to other places like where we have. And then we're going to see as well, guys, in agriculture. Basically, in a generation, there's going to be drone usage in one form or another in all farms. And you say, well, I don't believe that. There was a time when people didn't believe that there would be freaking tractors on every single farm. But every farm has a tractor. There was a time when people didn't think they would use computers. It's all computerized now. There was a time 50 years ago when people said NPK, which is the most common fertilizer used on basically 99% of all farms in America. People said it was snake oil and that nobody should use it. Now, every single farm uses it. It's nitrogen, potassium, and nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. But the bottom line is this. Everybody uses it today. There once was a time people thought nobody used it. That's where it's going in the ag business. And take a look at these things. These are, every single thing you see here, with the exception of deliveries, but even deliveries is not really an exception. All of these are recession-proof industries. People have to eat. All the services that we need that run the infrastructure of our company, or not our company, but our country, those things are gonna stay standing even if the economy contracts. Deliveries will still go on even in an economic recession. There just might be fewer of them. Transportation, this is all recession-proof industries, guys. So I'm going to bring this all to a close. I wanted to make sure we hit this with you guys, but I want to just point one single thing out to you guys. Somebody tell me who this fella is here, because he's a pretty popular guy. Some people call him the Great One. Does anybody know who he is? I will tell you who he is. He is Wayne Gretzky. Now, what's so awesome about Wayne Gretzky, in my opinion, is this, is if you were to ask anybody who's the greatest basketball player of all time, you get lots of different answers. If you ask someone who's the greatest football player of all time, all kinds of different answers. If you ask somebody who's the greatest soccer player of all time, well, we all know it's Messi, but a lot of people would say, you know, other people, Pele, and there'd be all types of different answers. But it's pretty much undisputed that Wayne Gretzky is the greatest hockey player of all time. Nobody disputes that. And when asked about his success, he had one of the great, it's exactly right. So we got my man here. He says Wayne Gretzky. So it looks like you guys are probably in about a 15 to 20 second delay, just so you know. And of course, that's going to vary based on where you are, but just want to let you know that. He has his famous quote. He said that his success is based on the fact that he skates to where the puck is going to be and not to where it has been. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that right there is the definition of success for you in this industry. I just gave you the last 30 minutes, more than that. I gave you the last 40 minutes about where the drone industry is headed. And I gave you examples of the past. We gave you educational reasons, not pure speculation, but informed, educated reasons why we know where the drone industry is going based on history, based on business, based on every other factor and variable that there is available to us, where this industry is going. We know where it's going to go. So here's my question to everybody out there watching this webcast today. Where are you skating right now? What direction are you moving your business? What are you preparing for? Because there's going to be people who are watching this webcast right now who are going to take everything I'm saying to heart, and you are going to be the Mark Zuckerbergs, the Jeff Bezos, the Steve Jobs, the Bill Gates of the drone industry one generation from now. Unquestionably, undeniably, it will happen. And on the same exact webcast, hearing the same exact stuff, there's going to be somebody else who goes like this and doesn't earn a dime. It's just human nature. I know, I'm telling you this for two reasons. Number one, because it's true. And number two, to make you hyper aware of this fact. I was talking with someone in Spanish the other day, and I was trying to describe the term hyper aware. And I didn't know how to describe it, and there was no translation for it, but they told me that in Spanish, the word is hiperconsciente, which would be basically hyper-conscious. And it's the same thing as being hyper-aware. And so we want you to be conscious, aware, but hyper, meaning you have your sensitivities heightened. You're hyper-aware that, boy, this is my chance right now, and I better get my booty moving, because you don't want to miss it, guys. This is the future of the drone industry. This is where we're going. And could you be living at a more exciting time? It's so freaking awesome. So take this to heart, you guys. You need to skate to where the puck is going to be, and I just told you where the puck is going to be. So you know where the puck's going to be in this industry. And without any further delay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm done. If you have any questions for me about all of this, then you guys can ask me, and of course, we'll pick that up at the end of the webcast. But it's time for us to bring up none other than the man, the myth, the legend, the Drone Boss. Let's welcome the Drone Boss, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks, brother. What's up, everybody? How powerful is that? Diego and I have been talking about that, and we really want you guys to get it, because it's true, and it's going to happen, and we want you guys to be so aware of it so it can be you. It's going to be someone in the network. We've got a lot of guys that are doing all kinds of things. So in fact, I want to just dive in and look at some of those massive action members that we have. So we've got some guys that are just absolutely crushing it. So massive action takers, let's feature some of these guys here. So we've got, first off here, I'll just name a couple of these. We've got James Johnson, Tom, David, Derek, Jeffrey, Greg, Thielen, Boyd, and Skycam Joe, my man. So these are just a few of our fast action takers, and there's a lot more, guys. I wish we could spend 3 hours just featuring everything that you guys have done over the last month, which is great. But I wanted to point out just a few of the things that are going on with some of you guys, so it's pretty cool. So James and Tom, these guys are out doing flight instructor training. So this is it's pretty exciting what you guys have. So this was a testimonial that one of their students sent in, and it says that I only flew a friend's drone once, but the instructors made all the information easy to understand and to implement. And again, this is just taking kind of the resources we provided for you and turning it into, you're monetizing it, you're setting yourself up as the experts in your area and in your field, and you're getting a big footprint out there. So this is part of building your infrastructure, part of doing all that stuff. So congrats, guys, and I'm sure there's tons more of those where that came from. So keep that momentum going. That's phenomenal. Next up here, we've got David Putnam. Now this is pretty cool. So David, he had a video featured by a group that also highlights National Geographic, PBS, etc. So congrats, David, on that. Pretty cool, and this is a little shot, kind of a screenshot of the video there. Pretty awesome stuff. And again, getting out there, I think you went on vacation and then saw this and was like, oh, I got to grab this and pull my drone out and do it. So fantastic. Next up here, we've got Derek, and Derek is a new gold member. Just joined a few weeks ago, about a week ago. Basically whatever it is, but a new gold member. And Monday, we always talk about getting your first client Monday right after Drone Command Live. So we got his first client, and he's doing basically part of a commercial for him, and he's got additional filming coming up this week. So this was his first edited photo as part of this project for this client of Long Beach, shot with his Mavic 2 Pro. So pretty cool. Great shot. It's we had a small compressed one, so it's a little noisy, but still an awesome shot, and super stoked that you guys got out there and took action and made it happen. And now this has led into more work, because now you're doing commercial forum video work and referrals, and it's just that momentum is going to be awesome out of the gate. So super stoked, really proud of you guys. And next up here, we've got Jeffrey Lewis. So Jeffrey, he had been asked to, basically, he was invited to be on the board of Operation Drone Search and Rescue. And their mission is to aid basically the victims of natural disasters, crime, missing loved ones, as well as support all the first responders worldwide. And so this group is hopefully poised to kind of be the ones that will help really get this message out and spread this vision and implement drones into a lot of these areas. Stuff was really cool. So congrats, Jeffrey. That's really cool. And again, we're talking, these are, positioning yourself as the leader in your industry, and it's just gonna keep growing. So I love seeing that stuff. Next up, we've got Greg and Thielen. This is pretty cool because, so this was, Thielen's a new member, about a month, maybe 5 or 6 weeks, but he didn't sit back and wait for everything to be perfect. He went out there and just took massive action. So he sold a job doing a progression video for a construction company. And they're building, actually, Jerry Jones's new hangar for the Dallas Cowboys. And this was in Dallas Love Field. Basically, they're rebuilding the old classic Braniff hangar. And this was, this is awesome. Way to take massive action there. So the cool thing is he reached out to the network, to other network members, and Greg stepped up, along with Ricky Jackson, who also stepped up and helped out with a lot of stuff on his project. So it's pretty cool, because what they did is, this was a deal where this was Dallas Love Field. This is a big airport, okay? And this is Class Bravo airspace, Dallas, Texas. And so what Greg did is he called the tower manager, ended up getting approval to fly as long as he could stay below 50 feet while monitoring the tower frequency and the radio, and having his cell phone available for communication. And like Greg says, it pays to talk their lingo in these situations, which I totally agree. And he used the DJI custom unlock procedure for the red zone for the locked areas on their website, and he said he had the drone unlocked within 60 seconds. Wow. So pretty cool. The technology is getting better, and it's easier and easier. And then what Greg did to further help out other SEN members, he posted basically a step-by-step kind of recount of everything that he did. So this shows the airspace where they were right over here, and you know, the ceiling that they were locked under, and then step-by-step everything that you would need to do as you're going through to get this unlocked. And then also a little tip right here is you have to be sure after when you unlock it right here, you're basically unlocking just for whatever zone you have permission to fly in. So when you're done and you want to fly outside that zone, you need to be sure and turn that off so you can fly everywhere else. Okay, so pretty cool. But great post, way to support the network, and it's just great to have those resources out there, guys. And then here, if you guys want to know how, here's the URL where it shows, depending what app you're using, if you're using the DJI Go app, the DJI Go 4 app, or the new Pilot app. It's got all three exactly how to unlock it and go through that whole process. So pretty cool. So here's a shot of these guys right there. You know, there's the building right there, which is pretty cool. And then here's the aerial shot right here. And check it out. That's the airport. Look at all those airplanes lined up there. That's all Southwest airplanes right there. I mean, right there. So they're basically on the airport flying during regular business as usual, planes flying in and out. So again, it's just basically communication, following the rules, and you guys can get stuff done. But the big thing here is the support of the network, which is really cool. Now, I want to shout out to Skycam Joe, my man, Skycam Joe. We got to spend a little time out in after the LA event, and he popped by to kind of see what's going on. Now, Skycam Joe's doing a huge project over in Africa, saving the elephants. Basically, you know, eliminating or identifying and working with, you know, with the military, with the police, and with the game wardens there to eliminate the poachers, because the number of elephants, they're being killed at an alarming rate. So the cool thing is Joe's working with some really cool long-range, long flight, you know, flight time drones. Like one of them, it's the hybrid. It's a hybrid drone. It's a GIA 160. It's a hexacopter, and it's got like a 3-hour flight time and a massive range on it, which is pretty cool. And so that was one of the drones that he's looking at. And the cool thing about it, here's a picture of it so you guys can see. It's a pretty big drone. It basically has a generator built on the bottom here, so it can provide, it recharges the batteries as it's flying. So the battery voltage, as it comes down, it just, instead of it dropping like this, it just slowly comes down to the point where they're getting in testing close to 3 hours or 3 hours of flight time, which is pretty amazing for a big giant, you know, hexacopter like that. So pretty cool stuff. And again, guys, these are, you know, there's a lot more stuff that you guys sent in, but, you know, we want to keep hearing about you and featuring the stuff that you guys are doing, because this is everything that Diego was saying. You're getting out there, you're doing stuff, you're building your foundation, your infrastructure, your team, and getting your systems in place. And we want to hear from you in the future. So I want to feature you guys next month. So let us know. Let us know what you're doing. Let us know what wins you've had. You know, anything that you have going on. All right? Super excited about that. Now we're going to roll into drone news. So we've got some exciting stuff going on in the world of drones. As you guys know, there's tons of stuff happening all the time. So first off, what I want to talk about, you guys know I'm on the board at NASA at UTAM, and one of the things is one of the big challenges that are dealing with these big accounts is the cybersecurity and you know, basically just how stable everything is. So the cool thing is NASA over here is working with, they're basically incorporating blockchain to encrypt the ADS-B transponder systems and everything that's there. It's really cool, it's really exciting, and there's lots of momentum and lots of progress on here. So again, this isn't something that we're going to see immediately, but it's in the future. And you know, like Diego mentioned, DJI, all these you know companies, Dubai, you know, the large corporations, they all know drones are the future, and they're looking to have that incorporated as soon as possible. And this is just another step in that direction. So it's pretty cool. Now we also had, if you guys saw, in the Super Bowl yesterday, which I didn't see at all. I was flying. Luckily, I heard it was one of the most boring games ever. Sucks. I'm sorry for you guys that watched it. But maybe it was awesome. I didn't see it, so I don't know. But I did see this commercial. And this was a deal by the FAA here, and it was basically bring your, well, here, it's a little 15-second commercial. Why don't we play it real quick?
Bring your lucky jersey. Bring your face paint. Bring your team spirit. But leave your drone at home and make the game safe for everyone. The big game is a no drone zone.
So again, pretty cool that they're, this is just bringing more awareness out there, to the drone space. And also with everything, the drones have a lot of positive publicity, and they want to make sure that that line doesn't get blurred. A lot of there's talk and speculation of some regulatory stuff coming in on the manufacturer side. If you guys remember that one of the baseball games not too long ago, they had a Karma, GoPro Karma that crashed into, flew into a stadium, and because they weren't using any geofencing, and crashed into some fans at the stadium and stuff, and a bunch of press around that. So what happened at Gatwick Airport over the holidays, and now basically forcing everybody to do what DJI has already done. And again, DJI is way ahead of the curve. All these other companies down here, they haven't even started. They don't have anything in place. And DJI already has their geo system, all this stuff, and we can easily unlock drones, and it's just going to get easier, better, and faster. So these other companies that don't have that stuff in place, they're going to be forced to have that technology in place. And unfortunately, a lot of the smaller companies, they're not going to be able to afford it, so they're going to fall by the wayside. But the good news is we've got the competition for DJI, which is inevitable. There will be. It's just going to take them some time to catch up. Right now, Unique with Intel is basically poised to be number 2 in the biggest competition. They're just a little farther behind probably than they'd like to be. But in the next, 5 to 10 years, somebody's going to catch up. There'll be 3 big drone manufacturers, but they have such a far way to go. DJI, depending on which analyst report you read, they have 65 to 85% of all the drone business on the planet. I mean, that's huge. One company, it's just absolutely massive. So it's really exciting, the stuff that's going on. And we're starting to see a lot of new companies that have some really cool stuff. One of the other things that we were doing in LA was I got to meet with these guys over at FlightWave. And so FlightWave, this was actually Skycam Joe. He purchased a couple of these drones, and it's really cool new technology. Now, there hasn't been a whole lot of stuff in the fixed wing arena yet, just because the demand isn't there. But the advantage with the fixed wing stuff is it's quiet. You get long flight times and massive range with it. So there are some really big advantages to fixed wing. But there hasn't been a demand yet. Once we get into creating some standardizations for some of this other stuff, we'll get there. The thing that does is it leaves a lot of opportunity because they're typically much harder to fly, not as stable. There's just a lot of limitations to them. But I got to tell you, FlightWave has done a great job. This is the Edge 130, and it's a small little VTOL drone, which actually means it can do a vertical takeoff, shift into forward flight, and then vertical landing. Here, they've got a little video. Let me show you guys this, and so you guys can see for yourself. Thing about this is we flew it and tested it and kind of put it through its paces. One of the things that I love about this platform is it basically makes it impossible to, you know, crash or get into a precarious situation, which is really neat. So as you can see, it's pretty small. And flying it, no matter what you did with the sticks, it would limit the amount of bank, the angle up and down, so it flew really smoothly. And the transition, I tried transitioning from, you know, downwind, flying it into a hover and coming back, and, you know, basically every advantageous position I could think of to put the drone in to have it have problems, and it did really well. Now, many of you, there's not a need for this yet, but I wanted to show you the technology and how well it's coming along and how cool this is. Because this is one of the best fixed wing autonomous solutions that I've seen with massive flight time. I mean, this thing's flying 2 hours. I think we had it in the air for, you know, 80 minutes, 90 minutes or something, which is, you know, pretty incredible for a small little drone that you can pack up. In fact, let me show you a little video. This was us packing Inspire. Oh, by the way, did you see that blimp there just for a minute? So one of the things which was cool, we were flying at Apollo Airfield, which it's an RC field, a drone field. And it's literally like 1.3 miles to, I think, the Van Nuys Airport, which is a massive busy airport. I think the time in the hour and a half we were there, I think I counted somewhere around 35 airplanes taking off and landing in an hour and a half. The cool thing about it, 1.3 miles away from where these drones and full-size aircraft have been flying for 60 years, and they've never had an incident. They've never had anything. And this was before return to home or geofencing or any of that stuff was ever there. You know, so again, it's just common respect, understanding of airspace and aviation, and, you know, I think we're going to see just a quick integration with that. But I want you guys to kind of keep that in the back of your mind when you're thinking about you know, flying around like with Greg flying near the airport and stuff. It's like, oh my gosh, you're at the airport. Yeah, if you know what you're doing and you're cool and you're communicating, it's fine. It's all cool. Now, this little drone is, you know, it's great, and for Skycam Joe's project, this is going to be more of like the surveillance drone. It's going to go out, cover a lot of area, look for the potential poachers and stuff, and then he'll have his heavy lifter, which is going to do some other, you know, other stuff. But this can drive and get the, you know, the police or the game wardens or the military over to the poachers to help catch them. And this thing, once it got up about, man, it wasn't even very high. Joe probably remembers. I think it was like 50 feet. I mean, the thing was silent. And of course, it can be made in any color or anything. One of the other cool things with this is the way that they've designed it is that this has, as you can see here, this little nose cone here just easily twists and pops off. And you can put all kinds of different sensors on it. So, you know, Joe's having one with the Calibri system put on it, which is a phenomenal thermal camera with some really cool stuff. But anyway, there's a lot of functionality with it, and it's not a cheap drone. For you guys that think you might want to get it to play with it, I wouldn't recommend it. This is going to be something down the road, or if you have a client that needs it, then you might look at it. But just the drone itself, with no cameras at all or no sensors, is 10 grand. So you know, it's a pricey little thing. But I wanted to share it with you because it's super cool. All right, now moving on with some other drone news, and we've got the FAA is back open for business. So after the government shut down, FAA is processing 107 licenses, and the testing centers are all now open, which is really cool. So all you guys that were, you know, waiting to get your 107, it's on its way, or you're waiting to take your test, you should be able to go get that scheduled and done and just knock that sucker out. All right, now the moment you guys have been waiting for. We're going to feature our superstar of the month, our massive action taker, our incredible guru of the drone space. So, without any further ado, I would like to introduce to you, bring up my presentation, RJ Drone Services. And this is Ricky Jackson. And Ricky's a cool dude. If you guys, I'm sure many of you know him, but we'll show you guys some pictures and stuff of Ricky and what he's got going on. But basically in 2016, Ricky retired from a 27-year career as a pilot for United Airlines, and he was looking to do something new, right? Because there's always the next chapter. And he was approached by 2 different drone companies who were doing construction monitoring photography and wanted to see if he was interested in doing contract work for them under their 333 exemption, which of course back then required that drone pilots also be Part 61 pilots, full-size pilots. So since he had been flying that, you know, drones recreationally for a few years, and you know, basically he was a pilot and he'd been doing photography as a side business on and off for the past 20 years. He said, man, this is a perfect fit. It sounded like a lot of fun. So he started his drone business in June of 2016. He was the 7th person to receive his Part 107 certificate that was issued out of the Houston FSDO. And, you know, he's been having fun. He was having fun with it, but the challenge he wasn't making any money at the time. So he understood that he needed to learn how to market himself properly, and was going, if he was going to be successful, he had to do something. So he attended Drone Command Live in February 2017. So that's coming on 3 years ago. And and here's a quote from Ricky. He said, "It was just what I was looking for." So since 2017, he'd been running RJ Drone Services full time. And since he retired, and now that he's basically implemented all the Sky Network resources, he's reached a point where he's as busy as he wants to be. It allowed him to become more selective on what clients he works to and caters to, and also the business that he works to. So he started out with focusing on residential real estate, and that makes up about 50% of his business. But he's been able to expand into more commercial real estate, insurance, advertising, and even television work. In fact, he shot his first project for a television production company in 2017. And he was able to expand that segment of his company in 2018 with 3 different television projects. And this year, he's planning to increase his television work, and he's going to be also adding on mapping to his product line. He's in the process of helping his local police department develop a drone unit within it, which is awesome. So super cool. Now, he said that Sky Network aligned with his aspirations for his second career. And now first and second careers have been a total success. And he's starting his third year with Sky Network. So congratulations, and he is an official alumni member. Now, Ricky's one smart dude, and he's got a huge heart, and he's always willing to help. If you guys have been on the Sky Network private Facebook group, you've seen Ricky's posts and the unbelievable support that he provides. It's amazing members like Ricky that make Sky Network so incredible. So thanks for being so awesome, Ricky. You know, we're honored to have you. Now, Ricky says this too. I wanted to get this quote in real quick. He said, "This has been such an exciting ride in the drone industry. It's been a lot of fun, work, and a great learning experience." He said if he had anything to pass on to other Sky Network members, it would be three things. Number one, do something every day to drive your revenue and sales. Number two, attempt to learn something new every day. And number three, work at getting good at what you do. Totally makes sense. So here's a shot of Ricky here. I love this. So this must be at a restaurant where he's doing some advertising and branding. Ricky says, "I feel the best way to be successful in this business is through taking massive action in marketing and delivering a better product than your competitors and giving your clients personal service beyond their expectations." Couldn't agree more. Just absolutely awesome stuff. Congratulations, Ricky. We're proud to have you in the network, and thanks for all the help and support that you provide to everybody. And just keep crushing it, man. Keep doing the do. And I love that you've set up your business and your life where you've got the perfect balance finally, which is really cool. So super proud of you and honored to have you here. So cool. All right, well, jumping on, so speaking of that and always learning something new and up-leveling and making things better, that's exactly what we've done following Ricky's lead here. So we have a brand new membership portal that is going to be going live this week for you guys. So it'll be probably towards the end of the week, but we will email you all the information once it's live, so you guys will have it. This is basically what it looks like, and I'm going to show you guys some of this stuff. So you'll still have access in the same way. So you'll be emailed a temporary password. It's going to be a much better user experience. It's got way more features, and like I said, you guys will have it by the end of this week. So let me show you what that looks like. If you can go to my computer here. So right here we've got you would still log in at your normal place, member login here. Now this isn't live yet for the new one, but once it is, you guys will, we will email you and you'll know by the end of the week. Okay, and this is basically what it's going to look like here. So we've got a new membership portal. You can easily reach us for support, the Facebook group, and we've got a lot of the resources here, which are pretty cool. So we've got getting started. The other thing too, as you're going through this, once you've gone through a section or a module, it's going to give you a check mark once you've completed that module. So it's going to make it a little easier to keep track of where you've been and some of the stuff you've seen. So this goes through, you've got your Dropbox here, all this, a lot of, the same stuff that's there, but there's more resources here for you. So we've got more advanced training for you here. So I'll just kind of show you guys what this stuff looks like. So if we go here to one of these, we've got your training here. So this is all going to be stuff that you guys will have access to, and it's going to be pretty sweet. Now the next thing that I want to show you guys is, come back to my presentation for 1 second here, and we've got this new website that is going to be for your purchasing your drones. So, or equipment or anything that it is. So basically this right over here, this is going to be in the membership portal here. And once you click on that, you're going to click down here and you see right there, there's a code. It's a password protected website. So I just want to make sure you guys are aware, this is for members only. Do not share this link with anybody. If you share this link or post it with anyone or do any screenshots of any of this stuff or pricing, then you jeopardize your membership in the Sky Network, because we will kick you out in a heartbeat if you do that, because that could jeopardize our ability to sell these wholesale to you guys as network members. So I'd hate to have somebody get in a pissing contest with someone on Facebook and post these prices, and then DJI pulls the plug and we can't get wholesale stuff for you guys. Doesn't matter to me, but that would suck for you guys. So don't do it, okay? And if anyone does anything like that, then you're out of the network. So don't do it, okay? This stuff it's pretty cool. So the way it's gonna work, once you go back to my laptop here, and I will show you guys what this is gonna look like. So once you're there, you'll actually have a password you'll have to enter in to get access to the wholesale pricing, the website here. And it's just gonna be like a regular website you would normally see, a shopping cart. You just click on stuff, add stuff to cart that you want. If you guys wanna add something there, you just click it, add it to cart, you'll do your regular checkout, and we'll get everything processed. It's going to make things a lot smoother, more streamlined on not only our end, but also on your end. So we'll be able to get the drones to you faster, and it's a little more automated process. So it's going to make it a lot better. Now, we're adding stuff to this site all the time, so if for some reason you guys don't if there's something that's not on the site that you guys want to get, you just email us in and we'll go ahead and get it for you. Okay? So I wanted to let you guys see that and how that's going to work. You can bring my presentation back up, please. Boom. And pretty neat deal. So again, this is going to just streamline everything for you guys and make things a lot more efficient. We also have implemented back into the membership portal that affiliate link so you guys can make some additional revenue, and we've already got some guys in the network that are making kind of mailbox money with that. So we'll explain that in more detail. Diego covered it last month's webcast, but once we get that up and live, you guys will have it. All right. Well, cool. We're doing good on time. Why don't we bring Diego back up here and let's answer any questions you guys have, any Q&A and stuff. So why don't you bring up a couple of questions here that we have, and we will see what is shaking. Okay, so, dun, 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 dun. Before I jump on his question, let's welcome Diego back up here.
Hey, man, when I was a young man, this jacket used to be like loose on me. But now, the Lord's been good to me and I'm fat. So, look at this. Ugh.
I love it.
Oh, oh! I barely made it.
Man, that's some high test thread there you got.
Hey, look at that! Can you guys see how it's exploding? So if a button launches off of here and hits the camera and it goes dead, it was too many burgers. What can I tell you? Okay, so my man GeoWin2. So I don't know who GeoWin2 is, but at least everybody knows who you are because you're GeoWin2. He says he's pursuing a large contract in the Silicon Valley here in his area. He talked to Damon about this and knows the centavos. I'm sure there's a typo there. Anyhow, he says, is there a way we can find out if certain companies make sense to pursue to help for the entire SEN members? For example, while doing car dealerships, I came across a CarMax dealership. I'm not sure if these are individually owned or corporate owned. Would it be possible to send out a list of companies that may be worthy of pursuing so we can help out all members? Or should we just work on it and then once it's finalized, bring it to you guys for analysis and approval? And he gives other examples. So let me just tell you right now, and as benevolent as this is going to sound, I'm not really being benevolent, okay? But don't worry about the Sky Network. Focus on yourself first. Take care of yourself, take care of your business, and if and when those projects come about serendipitously, then let us know. But don't go out there and say, I really want to do something great for the Sky Network. While we appreciate that, and that's great, I promise you the greatest thing you could do for the Sky Network is to have personal and enjoy individual success with your company. Yep. I also guarantee you that those big deals will happen, like I said, serendipitously, that you weren't planning on them, but they just happened out of nowhere. It will happen as long as you're filling your funnel doing a lot of business. So we appreciate that. We appreciate you thinking that way, and I'm glad you asked the question because I want to share this to everybody. You guys focus on your own individual success, and your success is our success and vice versa. So focus on that, my brother.
And one thing I want to add on that too is I don't want to see you guys, Diego talked about going after the big contracts. It's really sexy and it sounds really good, but those big contracts They take years, months, years to get together. And so I don't want you to forego the low-hanging fruit, the real estate, video production, aerial imagery, all that other stuff to go after some big project that might take 5 to 7 years to close. Get the cash flow going, do the other stuff, and then, like Diego said, that stuff will naturally happen. And when it does, and if the network can help support you and it's beneficial for the network, great. But take care of you. All right?
Awesome. Jeff says this, is permission required from the property owner, current or future, for me to put on my website images that I shot of their home during a real estate job?
Nope. Nope. You own those images, just like if you took a picture of the Capitol or the White House or anything like that of a car. You own those. You own the images that you took. So
cool.
Easy peasy.
Rafat Musalam Burbank. I'm guessing it's Rafat Musalam, and we met you in Burbank, brother. He says, hey, I have a gig in Lone Oaks, Texas, and there's no response from Facebook. Where's Lone Oaks, by the way? I
don't know. I think it's in Texas.
There's lots of, obviously, towns in Texas that just because Damon's in Houston, he doesn't know what they all are. Can you guys help? So sure, first of all, anybody here from Texas who wants to help Rafat, go ahead and go below us right there and direct message him or private message him. Other than that, do we want? He looks like he's already posted it there on Facebook. Rafat, go ahead and just send in a message directly to customer service and let them know that specifically. And we'll look up where Lone Oaks is and try to reach out directly to whoever's closest.
So
it's just northeast of Dallas.
Northeast of Dallas. So yeah, there's lots of guys in Dallas. So one thing too, be sure and include what the project is, the type of equipment, the estimated pay, what your all as many details about it as possible. Not just, hey, I need help. So that can help determine, because if you need specialized equipment, say you need an M210 with a thermal camera, well then that is going to knock out a big portion of who could potentially help you. So it'll be more efficient on your end, more efficient on our end, and everyone else that we're contacting. And then just send that into members at Sky Network, and we will go ahead and get that out to everybody in that area.
Okay, and then we got Tribui. What are the suggestions? I'm guessing, for the Mavic 2 Pro? Okay, I'm guessing that you're saying what are the suggested settings for a Mavic 2 Pro. And I'll let Damon handle that, but I'll tell you right up front, brother, the answer is it depends. So just generally speaking, I'm guessing, I'm going to guess and assume for him, I'll just kind of speak on his behalf. Damon, generally speaking, how would you set up a Mavic 2 just for general shoots?
Well, and again, it depends on the shoot and what you're doing, but basically just out of the box, I would just use auto settings on everything until you get comfortable with it. Then you can start diving into some of the manual stuff. There's some great tutorials on that DJI's provided in detail on it. The one thing that I would go in and do is I would change, and we've got it in the membership portal, we've got training on exactly how to do it. I would change your exponential settings, I would change your dual rate settings, and I would change your camera gimbal tilt, how quickly the camera gimbal tilts. It's not as big a deal as it was prior to this coming out, because we have cinematic mode and tripod mode for you to shoot in, but for just overall flying, that's going to make it a lot better. So those would be the three things that I would adjust. And basically what you're going to do is you're going to make your exponential, especially on your rudder or yaw, you're going to put that in the middle somewhere. I think the number is going to be around, I want to say 28 or something. I'd have to look and see. And then your dual rate, you're going to want to dial that down as low as it can go, or your ATV, your travel adjustment. So I think that depending on the model or the update, I should say, it varies between 70 and 80%. So whatever the lowest number it'll allow you to set it at, make sure you do that. Now also guys, when you're setting all this stuff up, you have to have your drone on and connected. If you don't have it connected and you're just going into menu, it's not going to save it to anything, because you could fly 30 different drones with that same app. So make sure that it's on and connected, and it's going to save those settings to that drone. And you have to do it, if you have 30 drones, you'll have to do it 30 times. One for each drone, turn it on and do your settings. All right?
Cool. And if you have 30 drones, that's awesome. Frederick says, can you tell us about the new referral program? I have a buddy thinking about getting involved. Frederick, what are you talking about?
I think he's talking about the affiliate program.
Our affiliate program. You're talking about for the Sky Network and Drone Command Live? Is that what you're talking about?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Okay,
I'll speak on his behalf and say yes.
So Frederick, if you want to know about the Drone Command Live affiliate program, Did we send that out to everybody already?
I think we did. If we didn't, if you guys didn't get it,
Let us know.
Let us know, and we'll get it out to you. And when
Because it's live.
Yeah, and when the new membership portal comes out, we've got a tab in there with exactly what to do, and it's super simple, and it's all automated, so it's really easy, guys. And the system will even send out the commission checks or the disbursement checks to you guys. So it's
in short. Here's what it is, Frederick. So if you didn't get it already, then we'll send it out again. We've had a lot of technological things going on over the last month and a half plus because we're making huge transitions from the old systems to new systems, which just makes everything better. But in short, I'm just going to describe it for you. You go to a form, you fill out the form with your personal information, your contact information, etc., and then you're going to get a link. And this link has it's basically a cookie tied to you and your account, and you send that link to anybody. When that person clicks on that link and goes to the Drone Command website, right, they buy a ticket, and you get credit for that right off the bat. Boom, just like that. And do you know how long the cookie lasts? Is it six months or is it 90 days?
I think it's 6 months.
Okay, so what that means is from the time that you send them that link, they have to buy within 6 months, and then after that you have to refresh your own link because there's laws, actually, believe it or not, there's actually federal laws that limit, and 6 months is the maximum that you can put on there, and I just don't know which one ours is because it's something we have to set up in our settings, but I'm sure we set it up for maximum, so I was just double checking. But anyhow, that's all there is to it, man. You can send it out, you can post it on Facebook, you can send it an email to your friends, you can send it to anybody and everybody you want to, people that you know, say, hey, go check this out because it's happening. The second thing, of course, that we're talking about is when we launch access membership to the Sky Network later this year in our internet launches. And it's the same process. Everything is the same. You already have your own account as an affiliate, but of course there's bigger opportunities there when that happens. But that won't happen for a little while. Where the Drone Command, that's happening now, baby. So you go ahead and you have someone in Texas or someone who wants to fly down to Austin because that's the next event in 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks, something like
Austin,
that.
Yep.
So yeah, go ahead and send them to that.
Yep. And if you already have someone that signed up and they didn't go through the link thing, just shoot us an email and we'll link it up and get you credit for it.
Okay, Judy says, will the flight instructors have a tab on the new portal?
Yes, Judy. So that's one of the other things that we were working on. So for flight instructor training, for you guys that are certified flight instructors, you're going to have 2 tabs. You're going to have our graduating class of March 2018 and our graduating class November 2018 with all the specifics in each one of those. Now, you'll all have access to either one of them as certified flight instructors, but the particular assets are all going to be lined up in there, so you'll have access to that. So it'll be super easy. You guys can submit your membership cards there very easily. It'll all be in one place now. You can reorder, your kits for your training. Everything's going to be there, so it's going to be a lot better. You'll like it.
Randy says, what is the best app to use to get instant approval under the Lance these days? AirMap is not including nearby helipads, which is no bueno. A little bit of Spanglish there, huh, brother?
Yeah, well, a lot of the helipads, Randy, they're not going to be there, but you can look at Kitty Hawk. Kitty Hawk IO is another one that has it incorporated with it, and then typically with the helipads, if you're having to fly around an area, which is probably usually like a downtown type area or metropolitan area where you've got a lot of helipads around, what I would suggest you guys do is just get basically a blanket waiver from the helipad switchboard. They've issued, gosh, I know of over 70 of you guys in the network that have gotten them. And basically what they limit you to is, you agree not to fly over 200 feet of altitude and daylight operation and yield the right of way to any aircraft approaching and stuff like that. So pretty easy to get that done, and you can always just call them and get approval for that. So you can check Kitty Hawk and see if they've got that there. But again, they're adding more and more of this stuff. The other thing that which came up at the last meeting we had at NASA, was all these, like with Uber Air and the proposed navigation pass and flight pass of them, to incorporate those into the Lance system too. So with the helipads, drone deliveries, actual Uber Air or taxis, the air taxis, all that stuff is going to be part of that process, and flight paths and all that stuff. But it's going to it's pretty cool with the ADS-B stuff that we have coming in. So Cool stuff.
Cool.
All right.
Finis Tech says, how long does it take now for the 107 license after you have passed the test? Boy, who knows, huh?
So basically the process for that, once you pass the test, you'll go on to IACRA, fill out your information, and then you'll get, within typically 24 hours, 24 to 40 hours, you get a temporary license, which is good. And then about 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks after you submit your stuff to IACRA, you'll get your physical license from the FAA. But you can still fly at any time before that. And there's been, there's not a set defined rule when you can fly, meaning once you pass the test, if you show that you passed the test, some FSDOs say then you're good. Other FSDOs say no, you have to wait till you get the temporary. But either way, it's a couple days in between there. As soon as you pass the test, get on IACRA, fill it out, and you'll be good.
I would just add to that, though, when I said who knows, anytime the government has an issue like where they shut down and they turn things on again, whether they actually are backed up or not is government, and they just use anything as an excuse. So if it's typically 4 to 6 weeks, that's cool, but don't get all bent out of shape and don't get your panties all tied up in a knot because it took 7 or 8 weeks. Yeah. Because who knows when they're going to get it to you. You're going to be, oh, I took this test already. They're going to get it to you when they get it to you, man, and you can't force the hand of government as much as we'd like to. So as like Damon said, it's like when you get your license to drive, you get that temporary license and you keep that with you. In this case, print that thing out. Don't let it, you're legal, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you passed the test, you're legal, you're legit. Don't let anything hold you back from doing your business. Just print that sucker out. And what I would do is, when they get that temporary one, you get the number right away, right?
Mm-hmm.
They give you that number right away. So take your number right away and fill out your Sky Network membership ID card form and get that. And guess what? Most of our members use that anyways in lieu of the FAA one because it looks more authentic, because the FAA one looks like a wannabe Malibu Grand Prix license. Randy says this. January 29th, Gina posted on Facebook about DJI issues with drones being locked. Can you expound upon what that was about and if it's been resolved? I have no idea what he's talking about, so Damon, you probably know.
Yeah, so that all that was some of the red zones, and they're transitioning with some of the new apps and stuff. So it's resolved, so don't worry about it.
Cool. Frederick says, do we get a commission if they purchase a gold membership? No, but later on in the year when we do our internet launch, you do get a commission if they purchase membership into the network, but we're not selling gold membership. That's something that only you guys can get at Drone Command Live. So later on, we're going to launch something that, well, I can just tell you guys up front, it will basically be something equivalent to a bronze membership. And we haven't named it yet. We haven't determined exactly what it's going to include, nor have we priced it out, but it's going to be pretty close to bronze pricing, and it's going to be pretty close to the same stuff. And yes, that will be later on in the year, though. That's later on, May. Yeah, May is when we do the launch.
April. No, May. You're right.
Yeah.
May.
But before that, we'll be promoting it to you guys and letting you know how you can get involved and how you guys can make some additional money. So, John Jaramillo or Jaramillo or Jaramillo says, when's the next instructor class 2019? It's on, do you remember the date off the top? It's in Denver. It's in the summertime.
Yeah, Denver. I think it's August, the beginning of August this year in Denver, Colorado.
It's in the old membership portal and the new membership portal, and it's on an email we sent you last month, and neither of us off the top of our heads know. Somebody here in the room know? Marissa, can you look that up for us? Or Kayla, I heard you saying something over there. Somebody look it up on your calendar, and we'll let you know right now, because that'll be really lame for us to all not know. Gina says the same thing. It's in August in Denver. We need a date, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to get you a... What? August 3rd and 4th, which I believe are a Saturday and Sunday.
Correct.
And it's going to be in Denver. So we're not going to melt you guys in Houston, because on August 3rd and 4th in Houston, if you go outside, you will first turn into a pillar of salt, and then that salt will melt.
You blow away.
Yeah. We don't want that to happen, man. So we're going to be in Denver instead. Of course, also Denver was chosen because it's central to the whole country. So it's easy for everybody to get there.
Yep.
Okay. Any other questions, or are we done? Steven says, which app do you recommend for 3D mapping? I would use AutoCAD if I were you. No, I'm just kidding. I'm sorry, Stephanie. What did I say? Steven. It is not Steven. It is Stephanie. Stephanie, Damon recommends what?
So if you're wanting to do 3D models, I mean, there's lots of different apps out there. I would actually post on the Facebook group and see what some of the guys are using as of now. Drone Deploy makes a really good app that you can do some of that with. Pix4D does, and you can do some of it with the new Maps Made Easy, and then also in Ground Station Pro, it's got a good mapping model in there too. So I would probably start with those 4. Look at those, but Ground Station Pro would probably be my first pick if you have an iPad and you're using that. And it depends on what you want to do. Do you need something that is just a 3D model that you can show to your clients? Do you need something that's going to integrate with AutoCAD? You know, do you need it for surveying? So it really depends on your application, and that's going to determine actually which one you go with. So you can send in some more information, or you can just research those. Those would probably be kind of some of the top ones, and see what some of the guys are using. I know, you know, the whole crew over at Snapfly, those guys they're doing a lot of really cool stuff with it. So they are in it, using it as of like this morning. So they can hook you up too. All right.
Awesome. Next question is, what is the cost of the Denver instructor training class? So we don't have that yet.
It's less than $2,000.
Yeah, and less than $2,000 might mean $19.99, because $2,000 is basically $19.99 was the going rate.
Yeah.
The first time we did it, we offered a crazy, ridiculous deal, once in a lifetime opportunity. Last year we did it again, also once in a lifetime opportunity, but was more than the year before. This year, we don't know if it's going to go full rate or not. We'll make that decision later. But just as a reminder, guys, this is life. There are once in a lifetime opportunities that come around in life, and either we can take them or we can't. So we just always need to be aware that such a thing actually exists. In other words, you only get a chance to do something the first time, or those once in a lifetime opportunities, they only come by. So we don't know yet, but we'll let you know. But it will be less than $2,000, which might be $1999.99. It won't be $1997 because I don't do that 7 business. That's for internet marketers. I don't believe in that type of pricing. But anyhow, Dan says this. Oh, this is an FYI. Okay. I'll just mention it publicly here. He says, in case you didn't know, the AMA now has commercial insurance at a great rate, not just for recreational flying.
Yep, it's in the portal.
Yep.
So if you guys can get access to that in the membership portal there. But yeah, super good pricing.
Any other questions? So it looks like, ladies and germanims, we don't have any other questions. But I'm going to make a really quick announcement that I should not announce, but I'm going to announce, but I shouldn't, but I'm going to anyways.
Don't do it.
Oh, okay. Wait. Got a question over there.
Same question.
Oh, okay, got it. Okie dokie. This is, we don't know who it's from. Somebody was saying hello to me on a text. So I say hello back to you.
What's up?
In person.
Live and in person.
Yeah. If you guys have any last questions, we know we've gone longer today, but it's important to catch you guys up on all the stuff that's happening, number one. And we really, because on timing, you're going to hear Damon and I talk about this throughout the whole year in terms of timing. Because what I'm mentioning to you about timing, we're going to have that window of this huge opportunity. I would guesstimate, and I know this sounds ridiculous, but I would estimate we're literally going to have this huge opportunity for 2 to 3 years max. And you say, well, that sounds like such a small window. It is such a small window. But I'm telling you that based on history, on data, and on the speed of this industry. So you say, well, there's never been industries where we had a window that small. I would agree. There really have not. But we've also never had industries that have moved this quickly. And that changes a lot of factors. But it also means this. It's the sooner, the better. Because right now, let's just talk real estate for a minute, which, as you guys know, something I don't encourage. Not that I don't encourage, but I don't think it's all that great. If we're at 5% right now, MLS listings, let's just say. We're not there, but let's just say at 5%. Do you want to get in on that business when it's at 5%, or do you want to get in when it's at 50?
Or 90.
Yeah, because when it's at 50, there's still 50% opportunity available. But man, there's so many players now getting involved. It's becoming commoditized. You're not too late, but you sure missed out on a whole lot.
Mm-hmm. It's just a lot harder.
It's a lot harder. You missed out on a whole lot, and you didn't get your foot in the door quick enough. So everything in life is about, timing. And you really want to get in here on this now. And so you guys are in on it, but just because you're in on this webcast, because you're in on the network, it doesn't necessarily, everybody's operating at a different level. Mm-hmm. And our job is to push each of you to maximum performance. We want you guys all performing at maximum level. And then, of course, you're going to get the success that not only you want, but I really believe that you deserve it if you do that effort. So, you know, go out there, push hard, take massive action every day. Taking massive action does not mean you sent out a few emails last week and talked to 2 guys. That's not massive action. That's barely doing anything at all. And so just make sure when we say taking massive action means that. And you see all the people who are really, really succeeding, they've all taken massive action. And the other people are like, well, I was kind of hoping I could kind of sort of like go like this, and maybe if I accidentally talked to one person one time who said something to me to a neighbor's friend's best friend's uncle's roommate's dog keeper, that maybe like somebody would be giving me $1 million. Isn't that kind of how this works? That's what I thought you said at Drone Command, right? No! We said you got to work, 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 work. You remember when I twerked and I showed you my sexy booty? There was a reason for that. It was not just to excite you. It was so you would remember to work, 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 work. Because you got to work, you got to work, you got to work, and you got to work now. And it's not so much about working hard as much as it is about working fast.
Yeah.
And working smart, of course. You guys have heard me talk about working smart many times. But when I say working fast, what I mean is not that you're rushing all day long, but that you're doing it now, and you're not saying, well, I'll wait till next week, or I'll wait till the next week, or once I get that email about my new access to the new membership portal, then I'll do it. Oh, but then you got access to the new membership portal. Oh, well, you know, my friend has my drone, and when he gives it back to me, or, you know, once my back hurts, my knee blew out. Look, man, you got to work fast. The window is shrinking. And you will hear us, obviously today I spent a lot of time on that subject, but you will literally hear Damon and I talk about that very subject and that very topic every single Drone Command, every single webcast, and virtually every single time we have your captive attention, because this is critically important that you take advantage of timing, because you don't get a second chance, guys. You simply don't get a second chance. Okie dokie. Any last questions while I was there rambling for a little bit? Or that's it? We're good?
Awesome.
Ladies and gentlemen, as always, it is our distinct privilege and honor to be here with you guys. We appreciate the time we spend with you and the time that you spend here with us today. We don't want to take any more of your time. You can get back to your lovely families and your businesses and get out there and crush it. Any final words from the Drone Boss?
That's echoing what Diego says. Take massive action now, because there are 3 big benefits you have by doing it now. Number 1, the quality of the services you have to deliver is here, and it will blow people's minds. In 2 or 3 years, you're going to have to be up here, and your skill level, the time, and the professionalism you have to deliver to just be competitive, it's going to be night and day. So you can get out there and do it now. All of you guys that have been out there and taking massive action, the first job you did, you look back at the jobs you do now, and you're like, I wouldn't even, I'm embarrassed about it. In fact, I think it was Kevin at Snapfly, we were talking about that. I said, hey, do you have some videos of the first ones? And they're like, the whole team deleted all of them. They were so embarrassed about them, they're gone off of everything. We don't have any record of them anywhere.
But they still made money on them.
But you made money, and they built their business around it. And now they've got, you know, they're going to probably do well over 7 figures this year. And that was just a year and a half ago. So the point is, get out there, take as much action as you possibly can. Wake up tired. Get up and drag your butt out of bed and get out there and do revenue generating activities, and go to bed at the end of the day exhausted, knowing you put in everything that you could, because you invest this time now and it's going to pay dividends far beyond what you guys can imagine in the future. But you got to take advantage of this window. Got to do it. All right, guys. Again, it was fantastic spending this time with you. I look forward to hearing more stuff about it that you guys have going on, and all the wins and successes, and share this massive action you guys are taking. It's going to be powerful. Hey, it reminds me of, did you guys see Caddyshack? The little gopher, was it a gopher?
Yeah, the gopher. If you guys don't, or it was a groundhog.
Was it groundhog?
Or a gopher.
Or it was gopher.
Is there a difference between a gopher and a groundhog?
I don't know.
What do I know? What I do know is this: if you don't hear that music, it's because it's in my head.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, as always, it's been great to be with you guys. We will catch you next month, and I'll either have this thing loosened up or get a new jacket. Lord bless you. Take care. We love you. We'll see you next month.
Peace out.